Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Band of Barbers Podcast. I'm your host, Devon Evans, and this is episode 42. Yes, today is episode 42. Thank you guys again, as always, for tuning in and, listening and engaging with us on our podcast. Guys, tonight I'm not even going to waste time. And I'm going to tell you that if I had to title today's episode, it would really be "You're doing too much." Right? You're really doing too much. And because you're doing too much, you're burnt out. And barber burnout is something that's really, really real. I believe, in my opinion, barbers feel it probably once to twice a year. That's just my opinion. And this is the experiences kind of sort of that I have, that I've seen with the barbers around me. I won't say that this is, sorry guys, I won't say that this is everybody's opinion. Okay, but I will say that for as great as this industry is, we do experience some burnout sometimes. And one of the keys, I believe, really in the burnout factor has actually to do with just what I said. You're doing too much. You're doing a lot of things that aren't what I like to call money-making activities. And so you're burnt out, and you refuse to let go of a lot of the things that you need to in order to get back to the things that are really helping you, right? So that's doing things like constantly answering the phone. This is what I will say, and this is before we get into our points for the day, but this is what I'll say. Dealing with, being overwhelmed, you're doing a lot of things, such as answering the phone, you're cleaning the shop, you're cleaning the bathroom, you're doing this, you have all of the responsibility. If you're a barbershop owner, I'll say, all of the responsibility is on you. And in an effort to save a dollar, this is just, again, my opinion, in an effort to save a dollar, you do everything. Now, I understand in the startup, you may not have the funds or to maybe support somebody coming in and cleaning, or things of that nature. But I'm telling you that if the task that you don't really want to do, maybe cleaning the bathroom, mopping the floor, taking the trash out, scheduling appointments, if you just want to cut hair, then you're going to have to find a way for those things to get done without you, or with minimal effort from you. Okay? That's just the reality. You are going to have to find a way to get those things done without you. All right? It's no way around it. That's just what it's going to have to be. So, tonight we're going to really talk about strategies and things like that to reignite your passion, maintaining your well-being, and also to overcome the burnout, right? This industry can be demanding, but you're going to have to find a way to overcome the burnout. You just are. You're going to have to find a way to overcome the burnout. Yes. And so this is what I'll say. So let's just jump right into um, point number one. The first thing that you're going to have to really be able to do is recognize the burnout signals, right? You gotta you gotta know the signs that many barbers kind of overlook to recognize the burnout. So some of them may be physical fatigue. Your body is tired. You're standing there doing 14, 15, 20 haircuts a day. You're doing this day in and day out, and you're trying to understand why you don't have or what's going on, right? Like, what's going on? Oh, my body's so tired. And your body will get so tired to the point that you know, it may just shut down. You may get up and like, oh, I can't move. I can't lift my arms. I can't do anything like that. So you need to recognize you need to recognize physical fatigue. You also need to recognize emotional exhaustion. Dealing with people day in and day out can be exhausting. Although a typical barbershop environment is fun, you're joking, you're laughing, everything like that. There's also serious moments. And there's serious clients, and you may have, some sort of issue with that. And listen, it's okay. It's okay. You're not a robot. Understand that. I have a rule for myself that I don't chase a walk-in. And this is what I mean by that. Or I don't chase a client. Okay? Let's say I'm in the shop and it's been slow, or I won't even say it's been slow. Let's say it's been busy and I get a break in the day, and let's say it comes at later in the day and it's 4:30, right? Now we close at 5. Or let's say I won't say 4:30. Let's say it's 4:50. And I've been kind of dead. Shop's been slow for maybe an hour, 2 hours, something like that. My rule is if I have already mentally checked out, I don't take another client. And get me when I'm understanding. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is for myself. Typically, when I'm at that point and I'm like, I think I'm going to go ahead and take off, so on and so forth, and I take a client, for myself, it is never, like, rarely do I get, what I'm looking for. Or rarely is it an easy haircut or a very manageable haircut. It's usually somebody whose hair is so overgrown, so under maintained, that it ends up taking me a lot longer to provide the service than I really wanted to. All right, I'll give you a prime example. I was getting ready to go out the door one day, and it was maybe 15 minutes till close, so it might have been like 4:45. I'd already cleaned everything up for the day and, reset myself for the next day. I'd already done all of that stuff. And a client comes in, a walk-in comes in and says, "Hey, little young kid, hey, do you have time for a haircut?" And I said, "Yeah." Now client has he basically has an even Steven. It's not a big deal, anything like that. I'm like, shoot, I can be done with that and still get out of here on time. So he says, "Do you have time for a haircut?" I says, "Yes." He said, "Well, what about 2 haircuts?" Now, me not thinking, I said, "All right, I'm going to take him. That's going to be really quick, and then I'll get the next one after it." I'm pretty sure, the brother will have the same the same type of haircut, because generally brothers and stuff, they generally have same style, similar style haircuts and all that type of stuff. So I was like, okay, yeah, sure, we'll do that. So the guy, the young man sits down in the chair. I started to cut his hair, and his brother walks in. His brother walks in with an absolute mop. Can't tell you the last time it's been combed or anything like that, but let's just say it was a mop. And so I cut the first one, and he wanted a like a low taper fade, but he had all of this bulk on top, and it was hanging way over. And I'll tell you guys, like, at the time, low fades and low taper fades into bulk, all that at the time, that stuff was not something that I was good at. Right? That was a haircut that I really, really struggled with doing. And like I told you, mentally, I was already checked out. I was already off. I'm planning, I'm going to go and do this, I'm going to go and do that, so on and so forth. But I was like, why not? I'll go ahead and take them. I'm here, they're here. Go ahead and take it. And I'm going to tell you, probably the biggest mistake that I made in that moment was I was thinking about the money and not about the client. Had I thought about the client, I probably wouldn't have taken it. And not to say that I was in a desperate place for money, because I wasn't, but it was quick. I was like, oh man, this will be 2 quick haircuts. Boom, 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 boom. We'll get in and out. I'm good. That'll be X amount of dollars. I'm good. Just add it to what I already had a good day today, so on and so forth. What should have been a, 20, 30-minute haircut, I think ended up being about an hour. And by the end of it, I was sweating and frustrated and all of those sorts of things. So, but I had already recognized, I knew my warning signs. I already recognized that I was done for the day. I was done for the day. These were not my appointments. I had taken care of all my appointments. I had taken care of walk-ins all day. I had closed up shop for the evening. And in the sake of trying to make a good day even better, only thinking about the money, not about the clients, I got exactly how I look at it. I got exactly what I deserved. I got a difficult haircut that I'm not really, that I wasn't really good at that time. And it showed. And it was rough. It was rough. So yeah, you got to recognize, your signals as far as burning out. And like I said, your signals would be physical fatigue, which we know what that is, emotional exhaustion, irritable, whatever, things like that, decreased performance, right? What you and in that example that I gave you, you all, I had physical fatigue because I was tired. I was emotionally exhausted from the day because it had been a day in the shop. It had been busy and everything like that. And then you know what happened? I ended up having decreased performance. I couldn't wrap my mind around what I was doing. So I was fighting for my life trying to do this haircut. But I was I was exhausted. I was absolutely exhausted. Right. And I was exhausted and I didn't really have the motivation to even do the haircut. So in the sake of the client, I should have never taken the service. So now I stick to my rule. I do. I stick to my rule. If I have shut up shop, turned off my fan because I keep a little fan beside my station, reset myself for the next day, and things like if I have done all of those things, taking my jacket off, if I've done those things and you come in, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to provide you a service tomorrow. And somebody say, oh, that's bad customer service. No, it's not. It's being realistic. I'm being realistic and saying, and really what I'm saying to the client in a nice way, when I'm asking them to come back tomorrow is saying, look, you really don't want me to cut your hair right now. You really don't want me to cut your hair right now. That's what I'm saying. And I'm saying that because I know where I am emotionally, physically, and performance wise. It's not gonna it's probably not gonna be my best. So I would advise you to come back tomorrow. And in that idea, this is like that this is self-care for you as a barber. Because if you don't establish boundaries with your clients, if you don't establish you know things like if you don't establish those things, the clients are going to take advantage of you. They're going to take advantage of you. Although some of your clients may have been your friends outside of here, outside of the shop, like your clients, including your friends, they're going to take advantage of you, and they don't care because you provide a service and that's what they want. But you have to care enough about the client to say, I'm not in a good space right now to do that. You don't have to directly say that, but you can say, look, I already took my last one for the day. I'm getting ready to head out. So and so, like, can you come back tomorrow? Or if there's another barber in the shop that's still there, hook the barber up. Not losing a person. You might, but more than likely you're not. But being honest and saying like I'm done for the day. All right, that's just what it is. Um, and so talking about that brings us into self care. Self care for barbers. Self care for barbers is doing things like going to the doctor when your body hurts, going to the doctor when you don't feel well, going to the doctor in general, like well being, like you stand on your feet 8, 10, 12 hours a day. Feet hurt, arms hurt, wrists hurt, back hurts, all of those sorts of things. And you keep accepting it as, oh, this is a part of the industry. And yes, it may be for long experience periods of time, but you can go to the doctor and communicate with them that you're having pain. So in the self-care, it may be, stretching before work, stretching during work when you have breaks, going to the doctor, eating right, staying hydrated, When I say eating right, staying hydrated, yeah. So all of those things like that are a part of your self-care rituals. Now, for myself, one of my things in my self-care ritual is that right now I don't work on Mondays. I call Mondays my health days. So I schedule all doctor's appointments and things like that on Mondays. Okay. I do everything I do is on a Monday. If I'm doing a lot of stuff out in town, that's the day that I take care of myself. That's the day that I might sleep in a little bit, or something like that, or just relax and watch TV. That's my day. Right? Saturday when I get off, I spend time with the family. Sunday I spend time with the family, and Monday is my one day a week where I get to not think about the barber shop and really truly think about myself. All right. So you got to do some things like that. And let me tell you what self-care is not. Self-care is not going to work, beating yourself down all day, or to the point that you're in so much pain you can't function, you can't do anything like that, and then going home and getting trashed every night. Because that's also not help. That's not self-care. It may be some blinders for your situation, but just because you have blinders on doesn't mean the situation isn't on the other side of them. Okay? Doesn't mean it's on the other side of it. One of the other things that you can do in dealing with burnout is set boundaries. So when I say set boundaries in the way that talking, texting, and dealing with customers and stuff like that, to me, that's something that can be very daunting and very stressful. So I make sure that I generally only want clients that are willing to book an appointment or just be a walk-in. I've got a few clients that will text me to make their appointment, but they're older people, right? They're older people who are well beyond the scope of understanding technology, and they'll tell you that. And I'm okay with that, because when they text me, they're texting me for business purposes. They're not texting me to have no conversation. They're not texting me a million things. They say, when can I get you in? I say, what date do you want to come in? I check my schedule. I say, I can do this date at this time. And guess what? They show up. I have a whole bunch of conversation back and forth. Right? We just don't. So that's one of the boundaries I set. The other boundary is, like I said, if I said that I have mentally checked out and mentally took off for the day, and I still may be in the shop, lingering around talking or something like that, I'm not taking another client if they come to the door. I'm just not. Right? It's gonna have to be something real I'm not. I'm not taking another client that comes to the door. You know what I also tell them, for the guys that want to be walk-ins and believe that they're walk-in and that's the only thing they're going to do, I say this. I tell them, we're open from this time to this time, right? 9 to 5. At 4:30, we take our last client. If you're not in the chair by 4:30, then we're not going to be able to get to you today. It's just that simple. They may not like it, but it's your business. Set your rules to set you up for success. You want to provide the best customer services you can provide. You can't do that if you're always bending the rule. You establish a rule, then you bend the rule. Then you can't do that. All right, so that's a healthy boundary. If you're a booked out barber and you don't have time to eat, you need to put in a time period during every day. I would suggest at least 30 minutes for you to have lunch. And even if you don't eat, take some time and get away from the chair. Get away from the chair. Go outside, experience some fresh air. Go sit outside, watch the cars pass, so on and so forth. Take 30 minutes. That's a thing, right? And setting the boundaries, also set a realistic expectation for yourself, right? Don't push for eight. I'm gonna do 15 haircuts a day every day, and you know that you a 7, 8 haircut a day barber. Don't do that. Don't do it. Just be realistic. Right now, I'm at the speed at which I cut, or you could. This is the amount of clients I want to service a day. After that, I'm done. All right. So that's set those boundaries. And number 4 would be diversifying your services. So let's say you're getting into these. You're the skin fade guy. Man, skin fades are such a tedious process. Tedious process. I have a rule. You sit in my chair. If you sit in my chair, tell me, hey, I don't care what you want to do. Just knock it down on the sides, so on and so forth. Knock it down on the sides however you want to do it. You want to fade it. You want to do it. That's what some of them will say. I can promise you, every single time that someone has ever said that to me, I have never given them a ball fade, and I won't. Because the last thing I'm going to do, if you give me full creative control over your hairstyle, is give you a ball fade. It's time consuming. I'm not saying that it's time consuming. It's just time consuming. It's not saying anything is wrong with the ball fade. But I know I can give you a nice one on the sides haircut that's going to look just as good, if not better, than that ball fade that you want. Okay, that's just it. Set those boundaries. But let's also talk about, like I said, the diversifying services that can renew your passion. So like I said, let's say you're doing all ball fades, and it's really it's just so much. Maybe you can offer steam, a steam session to your clients. They add it, you add it to the service. Some sort of facial, some sort of maybe you do hair color restoration. Do gray touch ups, or something like you add those, or maybe you get fully into color and you really dive deep into it and you really become a color specialist. Maybe you start learning products and how to style the hair the proper way, and you offer styling to the service. Maybe you do things like that. Add some different things that can, add some different services, may also add some different clients. And for those services, the price point should be higher. It shouldn't come within your haircut, right? You should raise the price for that. So in diversifying your services, you can inevitably increase your income. Or if you don't necessarily increase your income and you're at a comfortable place as far as what you're making, what may end up happening is hey, instead of doing 10 clients a day, now I'm doing 5 because all these 5 clients are buying my or buying into my additional services. Right? They want the black peel face mask. They want the they want to get their grays touched up. They want a nice style, and those services together may add something to your bottom line. But you know, 10 to 5, if you're doing 5 and still making the same money, I say it's a good day. I say it's a real good day. Right? And number 5, when we coming in for the close here. It's community support and professional growth. Be honest with the people around you about you know, maybe the ideas of burnout. I will tell you, I've worked with people who I have watched burn out, and they don't even know how to say what's going on, but you recognize the signs and the symptoms of what they're going through. Right? If you're a introspective person, you recognize the signs of someone else burning out. And, you know, people be like, oh, they're like, no, they're lazy. Oh, they don't want to do this. Oh, they don't want to do that. No, they're burnt out. They're not a machine. And guess what? They have the ability to take off whenever they feel like, because they chose to be a barber. And I'm going to say this is to people who are employees. Don't put your employee in mindset on business owners. Because as an employee, you show up and typically do your job. As an entrepreneur, as a business owner, there are so many things that happen before and after a client leaves, and you may only see the time that you spend with them, but you leave out or you forget about all of the other things that have to be done to make a business run smoothly. Okay? Yeah, you forget about that. But, you know, in your community support, don't forget, you know, the values of, you know, maybe going and connecting with another barber somewhere, connecting with another barber in another location. Maybe you go to the city over and you meet another barber, and y'all chit chat, and you know, he's talking about the experiences he has, you're talking about the experiences you have, and although they may be similar, they might be different at the same time, and it might be something that you can take away from that relationship that could help you. Okay? It might be something you could take away from that relationship that could help you. So, you know, don't forget about your other barbers. Also find mentorship. Mentorship in any and everything, not just barbering, not just business, but you know, find a mentor that can help you through, you know, being just being a person, a man or a woman. Like, not all the time can your family give you all the answers. Sometimes you have to go outside of those and find someone that may be able to help you. Okay. And you know, just get active in the industry and interact with other people in the industry. Don't just sit in your same small circle, because your same small circle, if one person is burnt out, it may spread, and then everybody's burnt out, and then you're all burnt out together, or you're rotating this burnt out, and everybody's not doing anything about what's going on or what's burning themselves out. They're just like, oh, it's that time of year. I just didn't feel like it today. Wasn't feeling this, wasn't feeling that. so on and so forth. And you just don't realize what a change of scenery can do for your emotional, mental, and physical state, right? So you just don't realize that, and it's super important. So, um, key. We're gonna go back over again before we get out of here. Go back over again the 5 steps in dealing with burnout. Number 1 is recognizing the burnout signals. Number 2 is self-care, right? Self-care, taking care of oneself. You take care of clients, but who takes care of you? Well, you should take care of you. And you should take care of you. And you should take care of you and make sure that you are okay. All right. Number 3 is setting boundaries. Set those boundaries. Hey, my shop is open from 9 to 5. I take my last client at 9:30. Client comes in at 9:40, or I take my last client at 4:30. Client comes in at 4:40. Guess what? That's not to be rude, but I'm telling you that you need to be in the chair by 9:30, so we're done. Walk-in client. I mean, not an appointment. Walk-in client. Because typically, if an appointment client has made an appointment that takes you over your closing time, you've probably had some sort of communication. Okay, we're talking about walk-in clientele. Take your last one I would advise take your last one 30 minutes prior. 30 minutes prior. All right. Number 4 is diversifying your services. Maybe go learn color. Maybe go learn blow drying. Maybe go learn more about chemical services. Maybe go learn more about styling and maintenance and the health of hair. Maybe go learn more of those things. All right, and add those things. The steam facials, the blackhead nose strips. Add some different things to your service if you're getting burnt out. Do some different stuff. One of the things that I love to do, I love to get scissor cuts. I do. Now, do I want to do them all the time? No. But just about the time that I've noticed, just about the time that I'm starting to feel burnt out, I get hit with a crazy amount of scissor cuts in a row. It's like boom, 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 boom. But you know what the freeing part is about it? Is that I'm trying to improve in that place. So because I'm trying to improve in the scissor cuts, because of at the time I was trying to improve, it didn't bother me to do that. It gave me an opportunity to test out what I had been watching, talked about, thought about, things of that nature. Right. And last but finally not least, community support and personal growth. So you need to do your own personal development. You need to and you also need to reach out to the community and let the community help. Find local barbers, sit down, have a conversation with them. Get around positive people. If you're in a negative environment or you're feeling negative, you can't come out of that environment, get around positive people. Okay? Get around positive people. All right? These are just a few key points in dealing with the burnout that you may experience within the shop, and some things of how to handle it. When you're feeling burnt out, look back at this list and see if where do I fall in this situation? Am I here? Am I here? Am I here? Now, once you know where you are, you're making a very informed decision about yay, nay, or whatever it may be. Okay, that's what you're doing. And I'm gonna say this: if you're still struggling, guys, and you just can't seem to get it all right, there's nothing wrong with therapy either. I believe that a lot of men need a few therapy sessions, but they refuse to go because of the stigma. And I am a huge proponent of therapy. I go to therapy. I believe in therapy. I think that therapy has saved my life in more ways than I can count, and I appreciate it. So don't shy away because you think, oh no, I'm not gonna do that because I ain't talking to don't do it. You talk to strangers. Typically, a lot of people talk to strangers every day. I don't care if you work with them and you work beside them every day. At the end of the day, they're really just a stranger unless you knew them beforehand. They're really just a stranger. Okay. But guys, I appreciate you guys. This is episode 42. It's been great. It's been a great night. It's 11 o'clock at now. Well, it's 10:58, so it's almost 11. And this is typically the time I'm getting ready to start the episode. But now it's the time that I'm finishing the episode, and I'm excited. Get a couple extra hours of sleep tonight. It'll be great. Hopefully, I wake up in a cheerful mood. But guys, I appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, like, comment, share, subscribe so we can grow the tribe. I'm your host, Devon Evans. This has been another episode of the Band of Barbers Podcast. I appreciate you for tuning in. Thank you. Have a good night.